This video is sponsored by Win-Win Technology, your ultimate flight sim hardware solution, featuring the Orion hull test, current and future configurations.
Hello valued viewers, I hope you're all doing very well. Today we're looking at your request number 47 for the naval battles. Did you know that during the 1980s, Soviet doctrine propagated committing 100 massive Tu-22 backfires and Tu-16 Badger anti-ship bombers against a single US Navy aircraft carrier group. The Russians expected to lose 2 of every 3 bombers of this air force to the Tomcats at the time before they can even fire their missiles. So they expected to lose 66 bombers before they even got within firing range of the massive, pretty much hypersonic missiles. So I couldn't let this one go. We had to do it. So today we're going to do 1985, let's say, Soviet time on target anti-ship attack, if it had ever happened, against a time accurate US carrier group. Let's look at the United States first of all. We have a Nimitz carrier group which was in service in 1985. The escorts consist of 4 Oliver Hazard Perry, which are correct for the time. Frigates were in attack formation defense from front with 1 rear guard. And we've got 2 Ticonderoga cruisers at the front, which had been in service for 2 years as well. We have an AWACS, an E2 Hawkeye over the group. Aboard the carrier are 30 ready to scramble F-14As, which is the most likely thing you would have had at the time. You will see that they are the horrible low polygon model that we have to use. Why do we have to use this? It's because it's the only version in game that works at the moment with the correct firing range of the Phoenix of 100 plus nautical miles. If we go for the pretty one made by Heat Blur, that doesn't work. We can max out about 30 miles, which is obviously not correct. So we've got 30 ready to scramble F-14As with the TF-30 intercept engines, carrying 6 AIM-54C Mark 47 Phoenixes, 2 fuel tanks, and 2 Legacy Sidewinders. They're going to scramble towards the bad guys and use their own AI logic. They're all set to ace skill level. Next, we're going to assume a best case scenario for both coalitions. So for the US, we're going to pretend that they know trouble is coming and that they've got 6 F-14s already airborne and fully cap loaded out. So as well as the 30 on the Nimitz, we've got 4 AI aircraft up Angels 26 ready to intercept, and they've got their own loadout as we've seen before, so that makes 34. And finally, we've got our 2 humans. Simba had to rush in with an F-16 problem, so he can't be here, but we've got Whistler and Damp. Say hello, boys.
Hello.
Hello!
They are in respawning F-14s. That said, because of the distances involved today, they'll probably only get 1 life anyway, with super realistic, super massive long range. Damp here in Damp skin, and he has got his selected loadout of 6 Mark 60 A model Phoenixes, Legacy Sidewinders and tanks. Whistler's got the same. The only difference is he's got the Whistler skin. Now, looking at the geography here, I just picked the Black Sea, but don't worry too much about the terrain here. All that matters is the distances. That's what we're really interested in. So the first thing is I had to decide what would be most efficient for the hostile bombers, bearing in mind that they're going to be carrying the most potent weapon at the time, we believe, which is going to be the Kitchen. The Kitchen is a Neon hypersonic high-level anti-ship missile with a thumping great warhead, almost unstoppable. They have a ton warhead, so if they hit a ship, then they pretty much atomize the ship. Firing these missiles, their range is purely dependent on the altitude and speed of the bomber. So I could go low with these bombers, and the good thing about going low would mean that I could get much closer before the blues spotted them. In terms of spotting them, it's all going to be modelled realistic with the AWACS, and when the AWACS sees them, then that's when the blue guys will attack. So I could have gone low. Now the problem with going low, say, I don't know, a couple of thousand feet, is that those Kitchens will only fire about 80 miles, 90 miles maybe, which sounds a long distance, but in this kind of warfare, it's not a long distance. If I want them to really go far, over 160 nautical miles, where I've drawn that red line there, I've got to make them go high and fast. So I'm making them go 30,000 feet, 700 knots, supersonic. That is going to be a high level launch, at which point they can fire about 160, 170 nautical miles, nay on 200 miles, which is bigger than, a lot of countries. So that's what they're going to be doing here. The bad thing about going high is they get spotted easily, hence I've got to start them back. I've done some testing, and in this configuration, They can be spotted by the AWACS at 300 nautical miles, just under, I think, 340 miles. which is there. That's 300 nautical miles. So I've put them back at about 310 to 320, up to a maximum of about 370. So within the first minute of travel, more or less, they're going to be spotted by the AWACS, the aircraft are going to be scrambled, and the attack's going to happen. So about as realistic as we can get it. In terms of their doctrine, just like they would do, they're going to fan out slightly, they're going to attack from different angles, they're going to go the maximum possible speed their aircraft will allow them to do, and what their fuel will allow them to do for an RTB, and they will launch at the maximum distance, which is, again, roughly where that line is, 160 to 170 nautical miles. They don't need many of those missiles to get airborne to kill a carrier group, hence the massive losses that they would be expecting in real life. That is the mission. So let's talk about predictions. That is 36 Tomcats ready to scramble, plus maybe a couple of extra humans, versus 100 bombers. I've made them all Tu-22, by the way. We do have a modernised version of the Badger known as the H-6, but it does not have 1985 weapons, and there's no point of this if we can't do 1985 weapons. So we want the Kitchens, which are the big 1985 weapons. This is before the KH-35, by the way, so this is their KH-22. As it would have been in real life, it's all about making the fastest fighter possible, which is exactly what the Tomcat was, a Mach 2.5 plus, if you don't mind about damaging the aircraft slightly. It's all about getting out as quick as possible and firing your missiles at their maximum range. You don't even need to kill the bomber. You scare him off target, you've done your job. And it's about how many you can scare off target before they reach that red line and launch their missiles. And bear in mind, they're going to be very aggressive and very fast. Whistler, then Damp, how do you think you're going to do?
I estimate our first blood is going to be bloody.
In order for maximum efficiency, we're going to be looking at 3 Phoenixes from every single aircraft, each hitting an independently tracked target. I don't think it's going to work out like that. Try as I might, I don't think it's going to be like that. I think there's going to be some that get through the Tomcat wave. Are they going to get through the SM-2 picket?
They don't need to stamp. They're going to fire 100. They're going to fire 170 miles away, so they won't be anywhere near SM-2s.
No, the Kitchen's going to get through the SM-2.
I don't know. That will come later.
I don't think so. I think anything that isn't picked up by us will get picked up by the SM-2 picket.
Roger.
I think Tomcats will be victorious.
The only other thing, I'm very complimentary of the SM-2. However, one thing he has to remember is this is 1985. There is no Arleigh Burke VLS. You're actually firing with old arm launcher systems that can only fire one missile every 23 seconds or something, plus 2 Ticonderogas. So your SM-2s aren't going to be as good as we used to in the modern 2000s year carrier group. So that's just something to be aware of. 1985, it just weren't that good back then. I'm just going to go with what the Russians war gamed this, and they said 33% will get through in terms of firing their missiles. I'm just going to go with what the Russians say. Like I said, this is as accurate as we can possibly get it. Guys, stand by. Oh, they're asking how many missiles the hostiles have got. There was 100 bombers. They carry 3 missiles each. That is 300 missiles. So let's see if they can get 100 missiles up. We've just had pointed out to us by our friend Oz that there is an inaccuracy here, and that is that the Ticonderogas that we're using did not actually have the Mark 41 VLS system that we do in the version we've got here. So in the sim here, they're actually modelled a lot better than they would be in real life. They actually had a twin arm launcher back in 1985. But never mind, that's as close as we can get. Right, my boys, are you two ready?
Sock ready.
Yup.
I don't know why your skins haven't loaded. Okay, you are not allowed to attack it, guys. You can orbit and you can mess around, but you can't attack until the AWACS has spotted it, and I'll tell you when that happens. 3, 2, 1, go.
Coming up to burn. Getting high.
Right, I am going to watch these AI gears here. When these AI guys here turn in for combat, that is when the AWACS has spotted the hostiles, which will happen in a minute or so.
That's for later, Dan.
And the turn in, they've seen the bad guys. Off you go, guys. I wish you the best. So there must be at 300 nautical miles. Now it's all about speed, speed, speed. How quickly? This is why this is such a good interceptor, the F-14A. Much better even than the F-14B. Because the engines are so much more powerful, the TF-30s at high speed and high altitude. And off go my boys. They're going to get as fast as they possibly can, because it's all about how quickly can you get missiles in the air. Everything else is almost irrelevant. distances. I mean, look how fast this is 100 Tu-22s coming at optimum speed and altitude. Almost unstoppable. I mean, could you really field 100 of anything, of any country? I mean, think of how many would actually drop out due to reliability problems, due to weather problems, due to whatever. But again, we're going to run a perfect vacuum simulation where those problems just don't exist. Now, look how quickly they're covering ground. They're at a speed of 700 knots, which is incredibly fast. So AI guys are doing their thing, climbing to 36,000 feet that they see optimal for their Tomcats. I think the tier 30 was actually optimal slightly higher than that, about 45. Maybe I got that wrong. They've sacrificed speed for altitude, and now they're going for speed. Distance between the fronts now, 277 nautical miles. So already, they've done 40 nautical miles. Unfortunately, the line that I drew has disappeared for some reason, so we're going to have to roughly draw that out about there. If they get to that point there, they're going to launch their kitchens and see who can get faster, the human or the AI. So the AI have got to 36,600 knots. Whistler's got to 36,550 knots. So Whistler's just a tiny bit behind. Oh, and the guys are now scrambling from the carrier. 30 aboard the carrier, ready for scramble.
Gotta drop the bags and another 1,000 pounds of fuel and get a little faster.
Yep, absolutely. Drag, very important.
Drag model, when you got the bags on, it'll barely even go transonic.
Roger. I mean, the doctrine the Tomcats were operating on is if they didn't shoot enough of these bombers down, they would be dead anyway, because there would be no carrier to land on. So, the Cold War was nasty business. In some ways, it was almost a suicide mission. Whistler, this is ground speed, no wind we're talking about, by the way. Whistler is 580 knots. The AI are 600 knots faster. Why is that? Well, actually, they have a different flight model. Whistler has a very complicated flight model by heat blur. These guys here have a very simplified model from ED. Drag is model completely different, and hence these guys are actually going to go faster than the humans, but it is what it is. Why do they do that? Well, it's because if we had all 150 or whatever aircraft here with a flight model as complicated as this one, then no computer could run it. So that's just how it is. Damp is, wow, Damp's really fast. Damp's gone for speed rather than altitude, which is 700 knots. So Damp's the fastest man apart from the backfires now. And that just shows actually how impressive those backfires are. I've been told as well, once I've done this, the backfire afterburners are blue because of the high sulfur content in the fuel. Look at their wings swept back. Supersonic with Lord knows how many tons of anti-shipping missiles. Just under Mach 5, those missiles.
Tanks off.
Now he's going to get some speed. A lot of drag goes with those tanks. Let's have a speed check. I keep going on about speed, and that's all that matters at the moment. Whistler, 611 ground speed. These guys, 780. Wow, simple flight model for the win. Look at them go.
Jetting tanks.
She is struggling to push through 1.0.
Tanks off for Damp. Just level the nose, Whistler. I'll put it in a tiny dive, get that momentum up. Whistler is stuck at 620. Damp is struggling as well, 640. AI, 810. 810. I can't do that in Mach 1.4, 1.5. I'm not sure. It's a lot. Now the thing about these tier 30 engines I've given them, they struggle at Mach 1, but once they get past Mach 1 and head into the 1.5, that's when they actually start working and generating all their power. So what you'll see is they'll actually start accelerating quicker rather than accelerating slower. These guys will get faster and faster, and so will the boys eventually once they get their tier 30 spinning up properly. But now 830 and increasing more and more. Right, let's just start looking at distances again. So from the carrier now, after 7 minutes from detection, the backfires are 236 miles. So they've done 80 nautical miles, over 100 miles they've done in 7 minutes. That's how critical these things are. From the front line, they are 172 miles. So even outside of the massive AIM-54 Phoenix long-range missiles range, our guys have covered so far about 80 miles towards them. Speed? Whistler's up to 700 knots. Up to 700 knots. Now his TF-30s are going to start kicking in now. And he's going to start really increasing speed. Now he's supersonic. Damp is 750 knots. 750 knots. Well done, Damp.
I've got a wingman right to my side.
Yeah, I see that. That's cool. Oh, look at you. Who's faster? Who's faster? Get him, Damp. Very good. And these guys are really gone for it. 870 knots now, and again, just winding those engines up now. Look at that. Oh, what an impressive aeroplane that was. What an impressive aeroplane. No fear at all. Well, actually, probably a lot of fear, but 135 nautical miles. Now, it's not going to be that far before the Phoenix is going to start firing. In theory, with these parameters, about 100 nautical miles, a maximum Phoenix. And that's exactly what the Phoenix is designed for. Shoot as far as humanly possible, biggest radar we can get, biggest missile we can get, hit the bombers or turn them around before they can get in firing range of the missiles. And these missiles are not super high tech. We've got Kitchens today, near-on hypersonic missiles. You'd expect them to be something from the 2020s, but they're not. 1962. Kitchen, 1962. That's how dangerous anti-shipping missiles were. Even back then, got their own radar on board for seeking targets and whatnot. Don't underestimate how dangerous things were during the, even in the early Cold War. And we've got the first missiles out now. These guys are at 900 knots. 900 knots, I don't know what that is, Mach 1.6 or something? I don't know. You have to tell me. First missiles are at over 110 nautical miles. 110 nautical miles. That's what I'm talking about. That's power. They're going to fire these on TWS, track while scan, which means that they can fire all of their missiles in one run and carry on tracking their targets. Again, exactly what the Phoenix was designed for, to take a whole swathe of bombers out, going into a defensive notch now with Crank, but he doesn't really need to because the bombers aren't going to fire, obviously. No, he's not. He's not. He's fired and gone for that guy over there. Well, that is impressive technology. Incredibly expensive fighter, obviously. Pretty much bankrupt the country, but look at that. That's what you pay for. Still firing. Swapping targets. In terms of which aircraft fires at which hostile, unfortunately there isn't. There's no IADs here. This is literally guys talking to each other in radios in different cockpits and saying, I'm going to go for the right guy. I'm going to go for the left guy. Now that's going to cause all kinds of inefficiencies, because imagine trying to target that. It's near on impossible.
Damp, try to aim for the northern group of the formation. I'll try to aim for the southern. We'll try not to overlap too much.
Copy.
That's literally how it would have been, or, you know, stuff coming in from the airworks trying to do stuff, but there's no hugely intelligent system telling them which bombers to go for. Okay, these guys are now starting to fire. In fact, we've got missiles. Missiles are now coming in. Now look at this. The best anti-bomber missile ever made, in my opinion. One down. Two down. Three down. Missile went down. No, it didn't. Boom! In the face. And wiping them out already. And this is an ideal scenario for this type of missile. Another one down. Another one down.
Alright, Damp, break north.
Breaking north.
Amazing. Absolutely shredding these backfires. Have you guys got missiles out?
Nope, not yet.
Roger.
Wait for these guys to get a little closer.
Roger.
We're still at just a little under 100 miles.
Roger. Absolute death and destruction. Everywhere I look, there's bombers falling out of the sky. Oh. Boom. Oh, massive warhead on these missiles so they can take these bombers down. I can't remember the size, but I'll guess about 150, 200 pounds. Even a big bomber is going to get taken out by this sucker. Boom. And these are big bombers. They're very big bombers. Wow, we're doing amazingly well, guys. I'm shocked we're doing this well, actually. I really thought there would have been more inefficiency, but they've done really well. The AI is maybe a little more intelligent than, you know, a bunch of humans. The AI knows what it's doing, whereas humans, there's a lot of confusion going on here. Go for the right one, go for the right one. Well, which one is the right one, kind of thing. Well done, boys. My boys are now firing. Where are they? Where's Damp? Oh, he's not.
Okay, here we go. Fox is out.
Nice one, Whistler. Yeah, Whistler's on it. Bang, look at that thing turn. Look at it turn. Wow, that's really reaching. Look at that. Okay, boys. Oh, the missiles are coming in for the rear guys now. Wowza. You guys are doing exceptionally well. Well, the AI is. That's not going to track. It's not going to track. It's lost its target. It's inevitable. Not all are going to track. There are so many parameters to think about. These missiles, those aren't going to track. They've gone into Russia, and they will just keep flying. Look, they're in Russia now. Bombing Novorossiysk. Boom. Some farmers field. And we've got merges. A9 Sidewinders being fired now. We've got merges. Of course, are these guys going to turn around once they've fired their intercept missiles? Nope. They're going to fight to the death. Because, like I said, if those missiles get through, the Tomcat's going to die anyway. Nasty business. It's only a tiny little 20-pound warhead on this. It probably wouldn't take a bomber down in real life. And you can see there, it hasn't taken the bomber down. But it's done enough to upset him. It's a non-operational bomber. And we've got merge and dogfight. Bit of a one-sided dogfight. Then again, don't underestimate the power of the Tu-22. Its pure kinematic ability. It's designed to go incredibly fast. I think Mach 2 or thereabouts. It is. It'll actually outrun, I think, a Hornet, an F-18 Hornet. Even the Super Hornet it'll outrun. Lots falling now. We've got the merges. I'm not sure how effective the merges are going to be. Again, because of the speed of those bombers. How are you boys doing? That guy's still got his missiles on. He's not giving up. Guns, guns, guns. He's got nothing left. More Phoenixes. The possibility of friendly fire becomes massive now because Fox 3 active missiles in a area. Oh, that was lost track. Look. That was lost track. Again, it will happen. There's going to be 1,000,001 inefficiencies here. Oh, big warhead. Big warhead. I'm worried about the amount of bombers getting through. KH-22s are out. Watch this. Look at that. 60,000 feet. 70,000 feet. Going for 90,000 feet. That's going to be problematic. So much going on right now. Merges. Now, the problem with merging at 2,000 knots, not 2,000 knots, this many knots, is that, you know, you turn around. By the time you've turned around, he's 10 miles away, and you can't catch him up. Look at that. More KH-22s out. The Russians were right. The Russians were right. KH-22s are going out. Guys, kill everything because you're not going to have a carrier to go back to. Man, more KH-222s out. Uh-oh. Things be bad and ting. Don't know what to look at. Duff missile. Duff missile. Too many Duff missiles going in. The first KH-22s are 50 miles away. And the SM-2s are out. The SM-2s are out. Fired from the VLS, Ticonderoga, and the arm-launched Oliver has a Perry. Now, as long as these come in one by one, these missiles, they can be taken care of. If they come in a big batch, it's problematic. Socks merge. Sock, look left. 9 o'clock low. 9 o'clock low. Merge. 2 easy pickings. Or not.
Fox 3's out.
Oh. Friendly fire. No. Dodged. Boom. Down. Oh, hit his own guy. Blast radius of the 854 hit a Tomcat, but he looks like he might survive. Oops.
Ticonderoga's opening up.
Roger. Missiles are 30 miles. 30 miles. Some twos are up. I think they're going to be easy pickings, or at least I think they should be. I don't know. It's too much to watch, obviously. So it's all about quantity of... The fight's pretty much done. It's all about quantity of kitchens in the air now. Boom! I got hit. Okay, there's a clutch here, but that's what I'm worried about. That clutch there. That will overwhelm an SM2. A 1985 SM2 might not overwhelm a 2000s SM2 group, but a 1985 SM2 group. And more of getting their missiles out. More now it's all got messy. Now it's all messy. Everything's merged together. It's hard to target stuff. Guns, guns, guns. Backfire down with guns. Well done, Mr. AI.
Out of fuel.
Roger, land in Russia and have a probably not that nice future.
Going for a swim.
We'll trade you. We'll trade you a spy.
Going for a gunshot.
Yes, you are. Too many. Exactly like the Russians said, about 30% of the 300 KH-22s got through. I mean, that's good modelling for 1985, right? Man. It was easy to do this with a computer, but what did they have? A bunch of guys in a child's playground pretending to be missiles.
2 blood destroyed.
Well done. Get another. Those sounds going by are the SM2s that are failing to hit. Can't see them, they're too fast. Oh, they are now within, break, 16 miles, 16 miles. Boom, boom, miss. 10 miles, 10 miles. It's not going for the carrier. They can't decide which ship they go for. They turn on their own radar and they track ships based on whatever logic's been set. And it looks like it's going for that Oliver Hazard Perry. Or it's going to be got here. Who knows what could happen? In the face. But more are coming. And here's the thing. It's all about overwhelming the defence. Oh, look at that. Went up. Did you land, Whistler?
I'm extravehicular.
Okay, we've got missiles getting through now. There it goes. The SM2s have been overwhelmed. They have been overwhelmed, just like the Russians thought. Or have they? No, maybe I've spoken too soon. I have spoken too soon. I don't know. What do you think? Oh, look at this one. This one's gone properly duff. It's gone off right to the starboard port side. Okay, we've now got phalanx fire, sea whiz, whatever you call it. Now think about these missiles. They're so big and powerful. They'll just break the spine of a ship. 1,000-pound warhead. Watch this. That's a dead ship. We're just going to watch what gets hit now.
Ooh, it's going to get nasty.
Oliver Hazard Perry hit and probably dead. Ticonderoga hit and probably dead. Yes, it is. It's sunk. What's going for the... Oh, my... Oh, no. Bad things are happening. They've overwhelmed the defences just, guys. The last few missiles. Would you believe it? Oh, my God. Oh. The carrier. Amazingly, the carrier hasn't been hit. Yes, they've not gone for the carrier. I don't know why that is. But that is the Lord's doing, I'm afraid. They've just decided not to go for the carrier. Like I said, they've got their own radar. They will make their own decisions about who they go for. If one hits a carrier, it won't sink it, but, it'll put it out of action. The fire would be so bad. Uh-oh, this is going for the carrier. Oh, no. I think it's got 2 forward. Okay, we've got rims coming. Actually, no, they didn't have rims back then. What did they have? They had Sea Sparrows, didn't they? 1985, I think they had Sea Sparrows. And they had Sea Whiz as well. I don't think they can defend this. Sea Whiz up. Lots of Sea Whiz. Oh my God. 1 down. 2 down. Boom. 1,000-pound warhead in the face. No, sorry, 1,000 kilo. It may not be a dead carrier.
2 hit.
But it is an out-of-action carrier.
84.
4. Oh, it's alive. We've still got the sailors' lives to save. Fight, fight, fight. Oh, so many got through, guys. So the Russians predicted 100 KH-22s would get through the 300. I would say that's almost exactly what's happened. I can't sit and count, but I'll say probably 100 have got through. Which will eliminate a carrier group, unfortunately. Wow, this is the best we've done yet, guys. It was so cool, so realistic. And also so, well, it's not worrying anymore because Russia can't launch 100 Tu-22s anymore. But back in 1985, that was a thing. Last ones are going down, look. Uh-oh, 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 here comes 3. No! Get in your lifeboats, boys! Oh! Boom! Oh, no. At that point, you probably are thinking about sinking a carrier. They've landed 6-7 metric tons of warhead on a carrier. It doesn't bear thinking about, really.
According to DCS, it's dead.
Whoa! And they're still coming. The last of the 100 are coming. And look at the size of the fight. Poor Tomcats. They've all got to land in the sea, unfortunately. They've burnt all their fuel up. What a nasty thing. But how interesting it is that we, in 2021, can now simulate what would have taken hundreds or thousands of people to simulate back in 1985. Amazing. Last one.
They would have had to have people like mathematically calculating
right.
probabilities of each Tomcat
Yeah.
launching and hitting each different bomber,
Yeah.
and what the likelihoods of them being able to spread their fire out and hit targets and stuff like that.
Roger, and they probably knew what they were doing. Well, I say probably. Obviously, they knew what they were doing. If you're going to build an aeroplane that sophisticated, you could do that kind of maths. Would have had some really intelligent people doing that.
So that last success op where you had two different groups, like the Hornets versus the Tomcats, remember how much more effective the AI Tomcat Phoenixes were?
Amazingly effective, yeah.
We both shot 6 each.
Mm-hmm.
Only 2 of mine connected. Only 3 of Damp's connected. Like,
yeah, I mean, the problem is there's so much going on, and a bomber might be, it might notch inadvertently. They wouldn't notch actively. They might notch inadvertently to do something, because you've got, and as well as that, you'd have multiple missiles going for one target. It's impossible without IADs to spread the load of those missiles efficiently. Also, I don't know if you noticed, if you get time to F10, there's a bomber. I've never seen this before. A bomber has belly landed on an island on Crimea. I've never seen that in my 6 years and 5,000 videos.
Look at Whistler's jet.
I don't know where he is.
is it still floating?
Oh, there he is.
It want to fly.
Oh, it is. It's flying, Whistler. Glider jet. Ich bin ein Glider jet. I wonder if it could land perfectly. Look at that. Isn't that well trimmed? Another homage to how good the Tomcat really was. It's just like, I'll carry on flying. Don't worry about it, man. I don't need gas. I've got brilliant lift to weight ratio. So that was just one of those ones that worked well. It was set up realistically and it worked realistically. There were no weird problems. That's as good as we can possibly do. We've got the best plane ever made for that intercept, which is the F-14. I mean, the best naval plane ever made for that. Modelled well. I know they don't look very good, but they are modelled well to the true capabilities. Thank goodness it never happened, is all I can say. And it allows us to simulate these things with a clear conscience. The guys are saying, would SM6 make a difference? Absolutely it would, yes. Just a modern carrier group would make a difference. Remember, we got 1980s carrier group here. If you put a 2021 carrier group here, you might actually shoot all those missiles down. I can't promise they will, but you might.
Ooh, is it time for another one?
I don't know. We'll see about that. Not today, though. Final wrap-up thoughts from Whistler than Damp.
Think of what it would be like if the Russians launched any kind of bomber escort force along with this. Like, this is ideal conditions for the Tomcat. Perfectly ahead friggin' bomber-sized targets 200 miles away, sighted, scoped, and it still ended up like this. Like, the parameters only get worse when you add everything else that could have been with it.
I talked to my guy in the old Iron Curtain to kind of get this, like, or what I should do. And I said, would they have an AWACS? And he said, no, they wouldn't have had an AWACS. They would have ELINT to have got the original carrier's position for the attack, but they wouldn't have had an AWACS, and they wouldn't have had fighter escort. Now, why is that? Why wouldn't they have? My guess is because, although this was next to Russia, that wouldn't actually happen, obviously. Obviously, the carrier group wouldn't be next to Russia. But I'm guessing fighters just couldn't go far enough out to sea, because we could be 1,000 miles out to sea. The Tu-22s could just about do that, but there are no fighters that could have done that. You just couldn't, even with air-to-air refueling, you just couldn't done it. You'd need a whole air wing up. It would just be impossible. So, agreed, Damp. If it was a kind of perfect scenario like this, where they were next to a country, however, in real life, probably not possible, like my guy said. Whistler.
Everything you basically said. Yeah, 1985, saturate and overwhelm. I mean, the expensive sortie, but I mean, if the end is to kill American warships, then that definitely gets the job done, and that probably has a more profound effect at home than, say, the Kuznetsov being lost by Russia.
Right, wonderful. Thank you, guys. I hope you enjoyed that, and we'll see you later.